Hello guys, welcome back in Goku Manhwa channel. Let's continue. Empty bottles were lined up across the room, scattered on tables and the floor, making it clear that there had been a party that lasted until midnight. The air felt heavy and still, like the remains of loud music and laughter had only just faded away. In the quiet, a soft, pleasing sound rose somewhere in the background, gentle enough that it did not fully break the silence. Ciola was asleep under a blanket, lying still, her breathing slow and deep. Behind her, a presence could be felt, close enough that it disturbed the calm without her understanding why. As she slowly opened her eyes, she felt a strange sensation and realized something was tickling her. Her mind struggled to wake while her body stayed tense. She became aware of a man's hand resting over her, and shock rushed through her instantly. Her eyes opened wide, fully alert now, and she saw a man leaning very close to her, his face near, his posture relaxed in sleep. His hand was resting over her chest, moving slightly without intention. Confusion and alarm filled her thoughts as she tried to understand the situation and who he was. She turned her head and recognized him as Lee Taigan, still asleep, eyes closed, unaware of what he was doing. She covered her face in disbelief, fearing he might have mistaken her for Haiju, his partner. The realization made her anxious and frozen for a moment. Morning came with groans and complaints. Two boys talked nearby, trying to recall the night, but neither remembered anything clearly. Their heads hurt badly from hangovers. One of them looked towards Ciola and asked if she was okay. Startled, she reacted with fear before understanding he meant her condition after drinking. Haiju appeared and commented that Ciola looked unwell. Ciola forced a smile and said she must have drunk too much but was fine. Memories of the night replayed in her mind. Later, in the kitchen, she saw Lee Taigan and Haiju together. He wrapped his hands around hers and said he would handle the spicy bibim himself. She agreed simply. Others in the room noticed the gesture and reacted with discomfort, telling them to go away and calling the display gross. They were told that the two of them had been stuck together at the hip for 10 years and were still just as clingy as ever. The comment was clearly meant to tease them about how inseparable they were and how nothing had changed even after so long. Hearing that, Ciola quietly agreed in her thoughts. She reflected that the six of them had been best friends for more than 10 years, all the way from their elementary school days, growing up together, traveling together, and staying close through every stage of life. Lee responded proudly to everyone, saying that he was deeply in love with her and that the feeling was overwhelming for him. Watching this, Ciola admitted to herself that among their friend group, Haiju and Taigon had started dating, and because of that, her own one-sided feelings for Taigon had slowly come to an end. She had once loved Taigon, but after he and Haiju became a couple and showed how devoted they were to each other, she chose to step back on her own. Even though it made her feel left out at times, she believed letting go was the right decision to protect their friendship and keep the group from becoming uncomfortable. A finger tapped Ciola on the shoulder and pulled her out of her thoughts. One of the guys asked what she wanted to eat. She took a moment to think instead of answering right away, then said ramen. That answer made him laugh and say that Ciola was the only one being sensible in the situation. In her mind, she complained that the others had no common sense at all, especially when they talked about curing a hangover with spicy bibimbap. At the same time, she admitted privately that she also wanted to eat spicy bibimbap, even while judging them for it. Someone urged her not to hold back and to just drink it down. She clarified that it was only water and said she felt extremely tired. The other two guys continued hyping up the mood and encouraging everyone not to slow down. They reminded the group that it had been a long time since they had gone on a 2-night, 3-day trip by themselves and said they needed to enjoy it properly until the very end. A girl nearby told them to take it easy, showing she was the only one trying to keep things under control. Another guy reminded Ciola that they had drunk so much the previous night that they almost passed out. Ciola answered that this was exactly why she could not drink anymore today. Ciola's eyes drifted toward Lee while he was laughing and enjoying himself with the others. She noticed his arms, his hands, and the veins along them, and that visual pulled back the memory of the previous night when he had held her very close. The sudden memory made her tense, and she immediately scolded herself in her thoughts, telling herself she was being ridiculous and should stop thinking like that. A girl sitting beside Ciola asked gently if she was truly feeling sick. Ciola asked whether it was that obvious on her face. Her friend told her that if she was not feeling well, she should go and rest first instead of forcing herself to sit through it. Ciola insisted again that she was fine and tried to keep her expression steady. The guys quickly jumped in, repeating that she said she was fine and adding that more alcohol was the best cure for a hangover. Hearing that made Ciola pause and seriously question whether that idea made any sense at all. All of them lifted their glasses into the air at the same time and cheered together, their voices overlapping and filling the room with renewed energy. The atmosphere changed from tired and hungover to loud and playful as everyone leaned closer around the table. The noise level rose again as their excitement returned. Someone suggested they should play a game of truth and dare so the fun would not die down and everyone would stay engaged. One person reacted immediately and said the game sounded childish, questioning whether they were really going to play something so basic. The one who suggested it defended the idea and explained that the most basic games are often the most entertaining, especially when played with close friends. He insisted that simple things become fun because of the people involved, not the rules. His enthusiasm slowly spread across the table, and the hesitation began to fade as curiosity replaced it. He declared himself the host and said he would go first so nobody could argue about fairness. He looked across the table and picked Lee Nam-yoon as the first target. The group quieted down slightly, sensing that the first question might be personal. He asked whether Lee Nam-yoon had a first love within their friend group. The question felt sudden and direct, catching several people off guard right away. Lee Nam-yoon reacted by saying the question was random, clearly buying time while everyone watched his face and waited. After a short pause, he admitted that he did have a first love among them. The table reacted instantly with loud surprise and disbelief. One person exclaimed in shock while another leaned forward, pressing to know who it was. The mood turned noisy and playful again as guesses and reactions overlapped. Rather than giving more details, Lee Nam-yoon tried to push the game forward and said it was his turn now, pointing out that the order should continue. Someone laughed and commented that he was trying to run away from the real answer too quickly. The teasing went on for a bit, with people reacting and joking, before attention shifted to the next round. He then selected Lee Tae-gun and announced that he would ask a tough question this time. The energy at the table shifted slightly, becoming more alert and watchful. He asked whether Lee Tae-gun had ever slept with someone who was not his girlfriend. The bluntness of the question caused an immediate reaction around the table. Lee Tae-gun and his girlfriend Hyeju both looked shocked and uncomfortable at how direct it was. A girl objected right away and said the question was going too far. Another guy pointed out that Hyeju was sitting right there and said it was insensitive to ask something like that in front of her. The playful mood from moments earlier tightened into awkward tension as everyone went quiet, waiting to see how Lee Tae-gun would answer. The question made Ciola hesitate for a moment as the tension around the table grew heavier. After the pause, Lee Tae-gun finally admitted that yes, he had slept with someone. The reaction from the group was immediate and loud. Someone from behind exclaimed that he was insane, and the table erupted with mixed shock and excitement. Another person quickly added that this was not the right moment to drag Hyeju into embarrassment, and told everyone not to make things awkward. Hyeju responded calmly and showed that she was not overly strict about it, saying she was not that uptight. Someone else added that what mattered was that he was loyal now, and the game should continue. The attention shifted back to Lee Tae-gun and he was told to ask the next question. Lee Tae-gun then turned towards Ciola and called her name. She reacted with surprise at being singled out so suddenly. All eyes moved to her, and the pressure of the moment made her uncomfortable. He looked directly at her while asking his question, and the seriousness in his expression made it harder for her to stay calm. He asked about the most recent time she had slept with someone and whether it had been good or not. The question stunned her. She had not expected something so personal to come from him, especially in front of everyone. Her hesitation was visible, and she struggled to respond. One of the guys at the table questioned why everyone was reacting so strongly, saying there was nothing wrong with asking that and that they were all adults. The mood remained tense. Hyeju watched Ciola closely, her expression turning suspicious, as if she sensed something was off. Ciola's face turned red, and she could not bring herself to speak. Her silence made the moment stretch longer. In her mind, Ciola was pulled into a sudden flashback of the most recent time she had been with someone, realizing it had been with Lee Tae-gun. The memory came back in fragments from the night before, when he had been holding her close and not fully aware. She believed he must have mistaken her for Hyeju at the time. The thought made her chest tighten with panic. She worried that if she said anything out loud, the entire atmosphere would become unbearably awkward and their long friendship circle could be shaken. She felt relieved for a brief second, thinking the memory would pass and the moment would move on. But the flashback continued just enough to make her feel shaken and unsteady, her body reacting to the stress of remembering. That was all she could recall clearly, and the weight of it left her frozen in place while everyone still waited for her answer.